Hi Leonardo, you are our head of fleet operations here at Maersk. And before we sort of look at what that entails, can you tell us what brought you into logistics and where that passion has come from?
Sure thing. And hi, Sam. I'm heading the fleet operations, and my passion for the sea and for this industry, I believe, started on the balcony of the apartment where I grew up. As a matter of fact, from there I could see the ships at anchorage and waiting before the port call. And together with my father, we were looking at them with binoculars and wondering, where they were coming from, how life on board is, and where they would be going, what they are transporting. And I believe that curiosity remained with me and eventually influenced my decision to study naval architecture and later on join this industry.
That's super interesting to hear about what brought you into shipping and logistics. So your role, what does head of fleet operations entail? Could you give us a summary?
Sure. Fleet operations, to put it simply, is the custodian of the customer goods while they are on board our ships. This means that we are responsible for the safe, reliable and efficient execution of the voyages from one port to another. As part of this role, we are also custodians of the 350 vessels that we own, and this means that we need to ensure that our assets are safe, reliable and as energy efficient as possible.
Well, it seems like you obviously have a lot going on at the moment, and no doubt like many parts of the industry being affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Could you tell us a little bit more about some of those challenges and how they're impacting operations, and of course on the personal side, how they are affecting seafarers and our crew?
Sure. We've been in this crisis for the past 15 months, and there's been tons of learnings and adjustment, and I need to say it has been a true roller coaster for the whole organization. And I'd like to first speak about our seafarers, because they have been our heroes, and they really demonstrated resilience and courage in going out there and still operate our vessels and thereby keeping supply chain going. This has been impressive, and you can imagine that particularly in countries like India and the Philippines, where the pandemic has been particularly severe, leaving home in the midst of a health crisis and leaving the family comes with a lot of concerns and worries that are in the head of our seafarers. I also need to say that making sure that we could run vessel has been a team effort. If you think about our crew operators have been working very hard, long hours in identifying ways to still perform crew changes and minimizing the amount of overtour among our seafaring population. Also, fleet superintendents, who are the servant leaders for the captain and chief engineers, need to find a way to still maintain that engagement with the vessel without being able to visit vessels. Also, ensuring attendance of service engineers and making sure that key spare parts were delivered has been a challenge, requiring also creative problem solving. And also, the Marine Standards Organization has helped in navigating the many different and difficult restrictions imposed locally to protect local population. So really a team effort, I need to say.
So one of the challenges that we are having in ocean is reliability, and we know that this is very much a pain point for our customers. Can you tell me what you're doing to work on that, and how we as a company are looking to address this situation?
So this is a company effort. So we have our colleagues who are designing the network, for instance, looking at ways to make it more resilient and reliable. We have colleagues who are working on the terminal side of the operations, also making sure that we make the most out of the port calls in terms of efficient turnaround time, just to mention a few examples. In fleet operations, we are the custodians of our customer goods during the journey. And our job is really to minimize the likelihood of a breakdown that could stop a vessel. Here we are harnessing technology. So we are utilizing the scale we have, the 350 vessels we have, and all of the data we have. What we are trying to do, or we are doing actually, we are creating early alerts, so signals that could help us identifying a potential risk and acting in time before it causes a breakdown and stops the vessel. This is clearly a key focus areas, and a lot of progress has been made already, but more is also to come in the near future.
Another sort of critical part of your role is safety. Can you give us an update on some of the projects you're working on regarding safety of fleet?
Sure. I think the starting point is really our core values. Our employees is one of the core values of the company. And this means that caring and taking responsibility for the safety of our colleagues is one of the top priorities for the company. A few years ago, we embarked on a journey, a transformation, I would say, called Safety Differently, where we started to look at safety from quite a different perspective. What it meant is that we engaged our frontline workers, in this case seafarers, a lot more. And what we wanted to hear from them is what are the activities that they carry out on a routine basis that despite all of the safety efforts of the past, there's still a significant risk of either a life-altering injury or even worse, a fatality. And that made us understand what are the critical risks that we still have. And then jointly with the seafarers, we are systematically going through all of these risks and identifying measures that would allow us to, for one, reduce the risk of these incidents to occur, or even if they still occur, to limit the likelihood of a fatality or a severe injury. It's really good to see the progress, and the ripple effect of it is that it also created a lot of engagement in our population.
Wow. Well, this sounds like vital work, and it's really good to hear about that collaboration between, of course, management and actually involving the people who are actually on the ground, and they can give their insights and learnings. We've also been hearing on the ground just how some of these crews are sort of being quite ingenious in their ways of looking after one another. They're sort of looking after their mental health and well-being, trying to keep morale up on the vessels on these voyages. Obviously, some are going way past sort of their contracts. Tell us some stories, some recent stories that you're hearing from the crew.
Yeah, so probably a nice example. Last week I received a video from one of our vessels, and it was shot by the crew. And for one, you could see the camaraderie, an amazing spirit, an engaged team, both when they were carrying out work, but actually also during the downtime. They were playing instruments together.
We just changed tacks a little bit. We recently announced that we will be operating the world's first container vessel operating on that carbon neutral fuel. How is decarbonization sort of implemented in the fleet? And of course, we've got the 2023 announcement, but between then and now, what's your overview on that?
Sure. So this is really, for one, it's an exciting opportunity and also a tremendous responsibility for us as leaders in this market, and the whole company is running behind it. So as you rightly pointed out, there are colleagues that are working on the design of vessels and engaging technology suppliers coming up with carbon neutral fuels. The beautiful part is also that we have a lot of opportunities on the operational side, and what we are doing there is we are embracing technology. So the company over the past months and years have invested a lot on making sure that we could harvest operational data in real-time operational data. By having this data available, our seafarers can take more timely decision, corrective action, and make sure that we execute journeys, so the sea passages, in the most effective way. It also means that we have an understanding of how is the hull condition, how is the machinery health, and thereby also taking prompt action, making sure we operate as close as possible to the optimal efficiency. The nice part of it is that we are creating a shared reality of energy efficiency on a vessel-specific level between the seafarers on board and the colleagues ashore. This means that we'll have also tremendous collaboration and engagement opportunities.
Well, it's great to hear that there is that, as you mentioned, collaboration. It's not just one part, of course, a people immersed, but all units sort of working together to reach this decarbonisation goal.